Hey guys, this is Mark Goldberg from Mark Vlogs Watches with another upsetting episode for you today. But before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this episode, let's go ahead and get the quick fist watch check out of the way. And here it is. 3, 2, 1. Today I am wearing a Hulk. I mean, guys, if you have to self-quarantine anywhere, you might as well do it in a Rolex Submariner Hulk edition. I got this one from James & Sons in Orland Park, Illinois. Guys, I need you now more than ever, so please take a quick moment and like this video and subscribe if you've already done that. Thank you ever so much for being with me. I appreciate it. Stay tuned to the end of this video and I'm going to show you around and I will show you some of the most important companions I've ever had in my life. Rolex has closed. The entire factory in Geneva, Switzerland has shut it down for a minimum of 10 days. Now, this is happening all over the world. Travel is being restricted. Companies are having their workers work at home. If you run a factory like Rolex, your machinists and all your assembly operators, well, they can't really work at home. My best guess is that the executives are indeed working off of their telephones and laptops from undisclosed locations deep in the Alps. But you know, the watchsmiths, the robotic, the people who maintain the Rolex robots and so forth, I believe. And the foundries, the jewelry selectors, because you know Rolex picks out all their own diamonds and precious stones. Those people have all been sent home. In fact, a fair number of them are French and probably can't even get across the border from France into Switzerland. What does this mean for the Rolex collector? The watch nerd, the watch diseased, the afflicted, the obsessives such as us? I'll tell you this. This is definitely not the time to sell your Rolex. Now, I want to reassure you that I believe that the prices of Rolex are, although they are going to temporarily fall, I do believe that will be temporary and that they will come back and they will come back strong. You know who just made a really good video on this topic is Eric from Watch Your Style. He's with CRM Jewelers, where I purchased my 40mm Yachtmaster. So I will go ahead and drop a link to Eric's video in right here. But why am I saying this is not the time to sell your Rolex, unless? That's because there are a lot of people who are going to be liquidating Rolexes all at the same time. A lot of nervous Nelly so-called investors. You know, the enthusiasts such as you and me, we buy Rolex because we love it. And we want to keep it, we want to wear it, we want to touch it. Can you hear that? Does anything beat the sound of a Rolex bezel? I think not. So we just love the brand. And we love watches and horology in general. For some of you, Rolex may be your favorite. For others of you, you may shoot way higher than Rolex. Or Rolex might be out of reach and you find it sort of, look at it in that light. You may find Rolex, you know, kind of like the offensive brand of jerks everywhere around the world. Look, that's just beautiful. So why do I own this brand, this watch? Because I can't stop staring at it. Gives me a lot of pleasure, and I hope that your knowledge, your collection, your obsession over these little machines makes you happy as well too. So this is really the reason to buy them. But of course, there are people in the world who purchase and collect watches for investment. One of the most annoying things about being in the Rolex forums on Facebook is the constant, never-ending flow of idiots who post a picture of a watch and say, is this a good investment? And the cognoscenti, the Illuminati, the knowledgeable among us usually reply, no, don't buy it because you don't love it. Or they post a watch that they've been offered by their authorized dealer and they're asking if they should buy it in terms of will it or won't it hold its value, rather than wanting to discuss the aesthetics, the robustness, the practicality of that particular watch. And again, the cognoscenti among us always tell them, no, you don't deserve that watch. If you have to ask, will it hold its value? If that's your primary concern, then you just don't deserve it because clearly it's not a love thing for you. Now, for most of us, watches in general, and maybe Rolex in particular, it's a love thing. Again, I just can't stop looking at this dial. So it's very critical that you have faith and that you not sell right now. The reason that I think that a lot of people are going to be selling is because so many people are either out of work or on reduced work schedules right now, which is really sad because it's going to hurt a lot of people. Now, it looks like the government in the United States is trying to calculate out how to delay tax deadlines, but those people who are due tax refunds are going to want to file earlier. I think our normal tax filing deadline is April 15th, and the government just announced they're going to move that back until July 15th. However, you can file online if you're due a tax return and get a hold of your money. They're talking about handing out money to people who are affected by this, and I have no idea what that's going to look like or how that's going to work. But clearly, they're going to have to do something. But there's this giant class of affluent people who have stock market portfolios who have tanked recently. So a lot of people are feeling very poor because all of a sudden their entire stock retirement portfolio has dipped by 30% or something along those lines. Not an exact number, guys. And by the time this comes out, it could have changed. Things could have rebounded back a little bit, or they could have gotten even worse. So I think that the disruption to the economy is going to be powerful and terrible and upsetting, yes, but I also think it's going to be temporary. So watch dealers are going to offer you a minimum for your watches right now because they're going to be afraid that they have to sell them at a discount. And therefore, if you try and sell to any of the big name watch dealers that you could possibly think of, insert name here, they're going to, by their own business practices, be required to offer you a relatively low-ball sum of money. Now, you can test me on this. If you're a watch dealer and you'd like to dispute that, please talk to me in the comments. It's fine. I don't mean to malign your business or your business practices if you're a watch dealer. The reality is that these guys have to survive, right? So if they were able to sell, let's say, a Hulk for $15,000 4 months ago, and now they don't think they can get more than $12,500 or $13,000 for a Hulk, they can't offer you that same $12,500 or $13,000 that they would have offered previously. They're going to have to offer $8,000 or $9,000 because they're worried about collecting their money back. They need to invest money and then get it back. So look, this is not a defense of watch dealers. All I'm trying to say is the first duty of any business is to make money. So the scenario has changed. When there is a low supply of watches, then particularly of Rolex, then what happens is the prices tend to climb. Now, Rolex, the factory, has really assisted to make this happen because what they have been doing is pumping $1 billion in marketing into the market, making people want their watches. They spend $1 billion every 10 years or so. And at the same time as they're creating this intense demand for the brand, what they have done is they have carefully controlled how many reach the market. So extreme demand and a relatively low or controlled supply equals rising and increasing prices. So that, of course, is what we've seen. But people are going to have a crisis of confidence right now, and they're going to be thinking about dumping out. Not so much the collectors, but all those people who bought them as investments, which sadly seems to me to be a ton of people. Buy these things not because you think you can make money on them, but because you love them. These are beautiful objects. If you want to speculate in something, just do it in gold, or futures or something else. But leave Rolex to the people who really love it. Anyway, all those people are going to be having a giant crisis of confidence right now, and they're going to be dumping out of their watches. And this is going to temporarily inflate the supply of Rolex on eBay and potentially in used watch dealers. It might not be happening immediately, but I think you'll see it within the next few weeks. And the other thing to remember is there is a percentage of people who love their watches, who really are truly collectors, but who are going to become concerned about missing mortgage payments or making health insurance payments or something. And unless the government in the United States at least announces a dramatic program of assistance to forestall foreclosures, evictions, and by the way, I'm pretty sure they will. But unless that happens relatively soon, people are going to start thinking about liquidating assets in order to protect the nest. And that's going to put a lot of Rolex watches temporarily on the market from people who would really rather not sell them but feel compelled to do so. So basically what I'm saying is don't sell your Rolex unless you need to in order to make your mortgage payment or something. If you got to feed the kids, And so you have to sell your Rolex, fine, do what you have to do. But if you can, be brave, be firm, be steadfast. It will come back. Hold your Rolex, don't sell. Don't be part of the flood of these babies that's going to hit the market of people just trying to consolidate their investment portfolio. This is not an investment piece. This was never an investment piece. This is a beautiful little piece of machinery that marks time, that creates memories, that you probably should have bought to commemorate the birth of a child, a marriage, a stupendously happy divorce, getting your wife pregnant, getting your girlfriend pregnant, getting them both pregnant at the same time. There are all kinds of reasons for buying a Rolex, and making money is definitely not one of those. Now, the flip side is, should you buy a Rolex? And I will make a video talking in more detail about that. But look, should you buy a Rolex? And should you buy it now? If you have cash, Baron de Rothschild was reputed to have said, people with money buy when there's blood in the streets. And there's going to be, right? So I am not one of these people who says, let them eat cake. I have incredible compassion and sympathy for people who are hurting economically right now. This is a very scary time for all of us. And I believe that we're going to get through it as a group, as a world, as a community. Even YouTube is helping tremendously. Guys, I don't know about you, but I am a YouTuber, but I also have my favorite YouTubers that I watch, some of them in watches, some of them not. Simon in Thailand, thank you for continuing to make your videos. I know sometimes you watch videos, maybe you'll come across one of mine. It is very reassuring to all of us to see our favorite YouTubers continuing to make content. It gives us something to do in this time of home, isolation. This is me, the dogs, my partner, and and the watch collection. So I'm feverishly rotating. But that begs the question: should you buy? I think the only reason that you should buy right now is if you're sitting on a ton of cash and you come across deals, because there will be people who are panic dumping Rolex, and if you're patient, maybe you can find them. I'm not going to do that, guys. I'm not at this time. I don't want to be a spider waiting for the fly to fall into my trap and take advantage of somebody. During normal times, I'm happy to go on eBay and make stupid offers to people who are just trying to dump out of a Rolex. During normal times, I'm happy to do that. But I'm not going to do that now, and that's because there are a lot of people who have real need, and I just don't want to be part of the problem. I'd rather be part of your solution. So guys, buy a Rolex if you're sitting on just a stupid amount of cash and you come across a great deal. Do not sell a Rolex unless you feel utterly compelled to do so. Be strong, be firm. We're going to get through this. The health of our communities and our families and our economies will return. Watches, these are just beautiful things that we love. It's not the center of the world. Whether they go up, whether they go down, it really shouldn't matter to you. What should matter to you is that you get to wear it, love it, appreciate it, and if it gives you a little bit of small pleasure at a difficult time like this, so much the better. Okay, well, don't hang up yet. Let's take a quick look around my training center here at the dog farm. Well, this is my me wall. That's me and the dog whisperer Cesar Millan, bunch of certificates. Look, guys, that in the window there, that was my first dog that I ever got. His name was Gus, and I got him in 1969. So I've been doing dog things for a long, long while. And there up top is my wall of beloved gone dogs that I loved so much, and I want to look at them every day and remember them. Franny, Bobby, Sheena, Laddie, Diablo. Brings a tear to my heart to see these dogs, but it also makes me very happy. And of course, Gus, the dog who started it all. I hope you are blessed to have as much love in your life as I have in mine, from family and friends and from our pets. Give them all a hug today. It's more important than ever. This is Goldberg. Thank you for joining me. We're going to do this again. Peace out.
Paint the sky.